Welcome, friends, to Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter. We bring you the greatest female voices in the music industry, from the artists, songwriters, and producers, to managers and executives, and all the women who make the music industry what it is today. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, friends, to another episode of Crazy Women Country. I'm Donna, and today I'm here with the talented Van Plating. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm so glad you're here. And as we were talking before, we are both Floridians, so we understand when we say it's hot and humid in the middle of November here.
Oh, yes. Why? Why is it like this?
I don't know, but I'm looking forward to the cold January, when we get those cold snaps in the 40s, and I look forward to those.
Yes, it's a long ways away to me right now, but
yes,
we'll hang in there till then.
Yep, keep wearing our shorts and things like that. Yes.
Yes.
So we'd love to start off with the most difficult question.
Okay.
Who is Van Plating?
Well, she's a woman who is a human, and I have made art in some facet my whole life. I guess in this conversation, we'll be talking a lot about that, but also, I'm a mother. I have 4 kids, and a husband who's a wonderful partner. We live in Lakeland, Florida, so I'm not that far from you. I'm only a couple, I think, 2 hours, something like that from Northport.
Barely 2. Yeah, about 2 hours.
So not that far. And Van Plating is a Florida girl from multiple generations. I grew up on music here. My granddad was in a bluegrass band. My mom's musical, played piano. My dad was in a rock band. I grew up just immersed in that culture here. It's kind of like when you're a kid, it's like by osmosis, like you don't even know what you have growing up. So Florida is definitely a big part of who I am. And then just, living all those different roles out in my life every day. I'm a producer, I'm an artist, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a lot of things. Van Plating is a lot of things, and she's probably overcommitted, but she thrives on being overcommitted.
Oh, I think that's why I love you so much. I do the same thing. Although I don't have 4 kids, I have a bunch of dogs, so it kind of equals out to toddlers running around. So
yeah, sure. Yeah.
Oh, so now I know you got started very young, and you started on the violin doing classical training. Is that correct?
That is correct. When I was 3 years old, my mother put us in, my brother, when he got old enough to, he was only like 1 when I started, when I was 3. And she got us in violin lessons. And then from the time I was very small, I can remember, during the week, I'd be working on scales and arpeggios and Bach and Vivaldi and all that. And then on the weekends, they would plop me down in the middle of the circle where my granddad was playing music with his brothers, and they would just be like, play. And so I learned, like, my ear developed really early from that. And like my dad would always encourage me to play along with him when he'd play guitar after work in the evenings. And so that was just always part of it. But yes, so very, very, very small. My mom said I sang before I could talk. So it's been a long time of that.
I could imagine that. I could imagine.
Yeah.
You're a very creative person. So yeah.
It's in the DNA, I guess.
Well, so tell me, who are some of your musical influences?
Oh, there are so many. I would say Jeff Buckley's a big one. With my singing, that's probably not one you would pick up having listened to my music. But then if I say that, you're like, oh, I could hear that, because I like to explore the range. I use some falsetto, kind of lots of different sounds. So that's a big influence. Who else? Well, right now I'm totally deep diving into like the current album that I'm making. So I'm diving into a lot of like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers sounds, a lot of the sounds he used on the album Wildflowers, which came out when I think I must have been in middle school, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look back at it. But that's a really big one for me. I just keep going back to the textures that he used. Who else? I'm trying to think of, well, Brandy Carlisle is a huge one. She kind of taught me to sing again after a long time of working in a job where I was just, singing other people's music. When I started writing again, I started working through some of her songs, and it was really, really incredibly cathartic, and it pushed me really hard. So those are a few of them. There's so many, though. There's just so many.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many great musicians everywhere. So,
Yeah.
it does get hard sometimes. And we always fall to our top favorites, right?
Right. Like we'll get off this call and I'll be like, oh, I can't believe I didn't say so-and-so. You know what I mean? But that's why sometimes you have more than one conversation about a thing, because you remember things later on. But yeah, those are the big ones right now. Like that's what's in my head, like right now. Like I was just in the studio trying to imagine, like, what would it be like? There's a song that you've probably heard a clip of since we're friends on Twitter. And it has kind of like a Johnny Cash, June Carter feel to it. And I was in the arrangement, I'm trying to figure out what if Jack White was riffing on Johnny Cash? How would that guitar sound? So those are like the voices that are like all fighting in my head, and then I'm the one singing, and that's its own thing. Anyway, I just totally took that question on.
That's perfect. I love that, though. I love that. Like, let's all just dive into your head for a little, because that is so cool. Like, there's some people that are like, well, I just kind of thought of this or that. And, you just kind of explained the whole process of what was going on for, I loved it.
That's what I'm like. Word vomit. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, so speaking of your current project, do we want to talk about that a little bit? Orange Blossom Child? Right? Yes,
I would love to. Yes. That's the new one. I am deep in the first couple songs. It's so exciting. I just remember something that I haven't forgotten, but you know how sometimes you get like, I went like this. I was so excited. So I have a friend who's playing drums on the record, who's really, really super good. And I only asked him on a whim because like my friend who played on, the album that I produced for Olivia that just came out, Young, Dumb and in Love, he's my go-to drummer. He's injured. He wasn't going to be able to play. And I was like thinking, well, I wanted to at least get started. So on a whim, I reached out to this friend of mine who's like, he's a world-class player. He plays in Devin Allman's band. He plays for Allman Family Revival. He's really, really busy. I didn't even know if he would have time, much less be able to, work on my budget and stuff. So I just kind of DM'd him on Instagram and was like, hey, if it's not too much and you wouldn't mind, and, I kind of have a song and it'd be cool if you played about, like I was just like super timid. And he DM'd me back and I was like, absolutely. Send me a mix and we'll see. And 5 songs later, he's played the first half of the record. And
beautiful.
It's incredible. And what's really cool to me is the way he's playing the drums is really leaning into the way I play guitar and the way I sing. And so it's really, this album is going to be a lot more nuanced than anything I've done before. Like all the parts are going like this, And so just today I was like losing my mind tracking guitar to this song I was just talking about, because I wanted it to feel like the drums and the guitar are kind of doing this. And so there's just a lot of intention there, and they sound amazing. So he's really great. My friend Will Harrison, who you also see popping up on Twitter probably a lot. He's one of my best friends, even though we tease each other a lot on Twitter. People might not even think we like each other, but he's a good friend. He's playing bass. He really gets that like balance of like country honky tonk, but he's from Louisiana, so he's a Southern guy. So he gets like not playing things exactly straight. And so there's just a lot of swagger in this album. It sounds a lot more like what I'm like when you come to hear me play live versus what you've heard from the studio recordings I've done in the past. And I love those things. They're beautiful. They're works of art. I'm very proud of them. But I really wanted to like dig into the grit that people get, in the real experience this time. So that's kind of a deep dive into some of the details, but the concept of it, Orange Blossom Child, is about, you know, your roots being from here, being from Florida, and growing up here, and stories from, you know, the title track, Orange Blossom Child, talks about driving my dad's Jeep Cherokee on Orange Blossom Trail, you know, up and down in a Popka, going to see my friends, you know, driving to the beach with the windows down. I talk about the rivers and the springs up there, and just, I don't know, there's something so unique about Florida. It's got this sort of primordial, moody, saturated colors and sounds. It's just a little bit different. Music from here is a little bit different. Stories from here, literature from here is a little different. And so that's like, I really want to do my very best to do justice to that on this album, in every single sound, you know. And it's going to be, I just mentioned a couple people, like there's going to be a stellar cast of amazing friends who are all jumping in to play. I've been kind of sending text messages and getting people lined up, and it's going to be really cool.
Definitely excited. And that will be out in
Thank you.
September 2023, everyone. We got the...
Yes. It will be.
So we'll definitely have Van back on here. We'll have you back on, because you're going to have to come on and talk all about it, because I'm hoping to get to like hear some sneak peeks and talk about the songs before they're released to get everyone hyped up.
For sure. Yeah, that would be great. I would love that.
Oh, that would be awesome. And, you know, I'm glad that you mentioned the difference in music from a locality, because, you know, recently I was just listening to a lady from the Appalachia area, and it was just like, you can just tell certain areas that are different. And that was, I think, the West Virginia area to even the Kentucky Appalachian, you know, and you can tell those differences. And it's just very, you know, sometimes you may not catch it if you're just listening, you know, but when you really like take that time to, you can really appreciate, you know, what they put into their artistry as far as locality, you know, and it's
right.
So I'm really excited for you.
Yeah, I mean, it goes all the way deep down into the rhythm section. I mean, it's just an energy thing, and you really can hear it if you start.
Absolutely. So let's mention, I know now is this your first full production album that you've just done for Live? No? Okay, so that's exciting. Hold on, I can't hear you. 1 second. I think we just froze. Okay, everyone, just 1 second. We appear to be frozen here. Okay, so after a brief freezing, let me re-ask the question for you. So, obviously, I know you just produced Liv's new album, her first debut album.
Yes.
Now, you just said that this wasn't your first album that you produced. So you want to tell us a little bit more about your production hat? And
well, so that was my first full production credit. My most recent album, the one that you know, The Way Down, I co-produced that one. I wasn't the only production hat wearer, but I did share that, and that was my first time kind of doing that. I've wanted to for a long time. I feel like engineering has always been intimidating to me. I've, been in music my entire life. My first recording session, I was like 6 years old. Like I've been arranging, I've been writing, I've been performing, I've done sessions forever. But the like actual engineering part of it has always intimidated me. And it kind of took like a little bit of a push for me to actually do it. But like most things we're scared of, it really was not a big deal at all. It was totally easy because I did all the other stuff already. It was really just the pushing of buttons that scared me. As ridiculous as that sounds. And so, yes, Liv's record was the first one that I have the sole producer credit on, and it felt really cool. I could not have asked for a better artist to work with, for it being my first one. And just also in general, even if it hadn't been my first one, she's just such a special voice, such a special writer, and she's so down to try things. The approach with that album was really unique because instead of building it from the bottom up, like usually in the studio, you'll come in, you'll do like scratch tracks of just the vocals and the guitars, and then you build it from bottom up: drums, bass, rhythm, meat instruments, color instruments, and the vocal. But with her voice is so unique. And knowing that this was going to be my first like offering into the world as a producer, I wanted to do something different. And I thought that she'd be the right person. And so we actually built it from the inside out. We built it from her voice. And you can tell when you listen to it that her voice is supposed to be in the center of it. And it was a gamble because it made the rest of our jobs a lot harder, than just like setting a click and forgetting it and layering up. But I feel like what we ended up with was this beautiful tension between the vocalist and all the instruments, because they're all having to lean into her performances, even the drummer, even the bass player. And so having that be the whole point, having the stories and the voice be the point, it kind of created something really unique. And then just throwing all kinds of sounds on there that I'd always wanted to use. And I'd always kind of had somebody arguing with me about it, but this time I didn't. Maniacal laughter. Because Olivia's like, yes, do that 12 string. Yes, go for it. Give me all the twin fiddles, anything you want. I am in,
Yeah.
Total enabler for sure. But it really worked, and I'm incredibly proud of it. And she worked really hard for it. She really pushed herself, and I have no reservations about what we ended up with. I'm just incredibly proud of it. Thankful for the mixing engineer who put up with and understood all of my isms. It's really good. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed what you've heard.
I have. It was brilliant. I was like, this is awesome. Like, and like, you can always tell the difference between people that are willing to try something and people that are like, no, we got to do the standard. And and I don't want to say the standard as in the recording of what, the expectations of what a company that you work with, or for expects, especially if you're a signed artist, versus an indie artist. And that really does make a difference. And sometimes because you can just see the broadening of an album. And with the debut album, I'm like, this is so like creative. Like it's, sometimes it seems creative, like overkill or it just depends. Sometimes.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It just seemed like smooth. Like I was like, this is great. It's creative. It's unique for a debut album. And it just, everything just seamlessly I loved it. So I could be biased, but I loved it.
Thank you. I'm so glad. It feels like a very strong debut for her too. Like she didn't hold back from anything. And, as a young woman in the music industry, she's kind of started with no box around her.
Yes.
And that, as a woman who's farther along in her life, looking back, I wish someone had been able to do that for me. So it's really exciting to see her kind of just embrace like her freedom and who she is and just be confident and go for it. I'm hyped for her. I want to do another one.
Oh, well, just make sure you let us know in advance. I will be glad to help hype it up too.
Amazing. We would love that. I will let you know. Thank you.
So would you like to do our 20 crazy questions?
Absolutely. I love crazy questions.
Okay, wonderful. I promise we won't get arrested yet.
Okay.
So tell me, what is your dance like nobody's watching song? The song you have to dance to.
Oh, that's a hard one. Okay. I'm thinking. Is there a timer on? Okay. Something by Michael Jackson. Probably, Blood on the Dance Floor is really good. For dancing in the kitchen. Anything by Michael Jackson is very danceable to me.
Perfect.
Like no one is watching, whether anyone is watching or not. Yeah, it's happening. If that's on, it's happening.
Grocery store too?
Oh yeah. Doesn't matter. Freezer aisle.
Yeah.
I'm jamming.
Oh. So tell me, what is a song that you think is like the perfect workout song, or maybe a genre?
Well, I work out a lot, and hip hop seems to just really work for working out. It just really does. That bass gets going.
Mm-hmm.
Although I will say, as a second choice, AC/DC is pretty good to work out too.
Great choices. Can't disagree with any of those. Oh. Well, so tell me, in your opinion, what are the top 2 concerts that you've ever attended?
Okay. My top 2 would be probably Brandy Carlisle the night before the world shut down in 2020. In March, she played at GMF. I don't know if you were there for that in Tampa. And it was like the last thing we went to before the pandemic. And she always gives an incredible performance. But that night was really special because we didn't know we wouldn't be doing that again. Mm-hmm. And I heard her sing a lot of my favorite songs. And then probably my second one would be the first concert I ever went to, which was the Wallflowers, when I was like way too young to be at a Wallflowers concert. My parents were really strict. I still don't understand how I pulled that off. But it was the Wallflowers. They were my first concert. They played outside at the Hard Rock in Orlando. And I can just remember like the smell of weed and like people sloshing beer over me. And I was like in middle school, but I was right by the stage and I could see Rami Jaffe's cigarette hanging from his mouth while he's playing the keys. And Jacob Dylan was right there. And, One Headlight was like a brand new song. And that was like my first real rock concert experience. And it just blew my mind. So those are my 2 top ones for sure.
Wonderful. I can honestly say I've never seen, Wallflowers. And that was one, as we're right around the same age. So yeah, that was someone that I wanted to see. And, I just remember many concerts. My parents were like, no, you're not going. But I was like, okay, Reba's at the Allentown Fair. They're like, go ahead, have fun. I'm like, seriously? Okay.
I don't know.
Whatever. I'm good.
It happened. And I have that memory.
That is awesome. Oh, yeah. So tell me, do you have any guilty pleasure music? The music that you would never really admit to normally listening to?
I mean, the Encanto soundtrack is really good. It's just really good. Can't help it. Thank you, Lin-Manuel Miranda, for that.
Absolutely. I hate to say it. Almost all of the, and they say kid movies, right? The kid movies have just the most amazing songs to them, don't they?
They do.
Inspirational
and got great songs too. Yeah.
Yeah. So hypothetically, if I came to you and said, I need to hide a dead body, do you know a good place?
Oh yeah. I'm an outlaw. I got all kinds of places, but I can't tell you here.
Yeah. No, don't tell me here. Yeah. You're the closest.
I got you.
Artist. So I'd probably call you first because more than likely, it's going to happen in Florida. Yeah. So I'll just.
Yeah, I got you. Got you covered.
Do you have a game plan for zombie apocalypse?
Well, I mean, it kind of changes. Our plans change, depending on whether we feel like we're going to become the zombies or if we feel like we're going to be running from the zombies. Having 4 kids, we discuss this a lot. Mostly we say we're just going to go to the mountains, where we like to go. There's a place up there that we like to go. And that way we can escape all of civilization. And the kids plan to have like a vegetable garden and a nuclear shelter too. I'm not sure based on their follow through that we would actually be safe there. But, the alternative is becoming zombies, which I guess might be okay. I don't know.
Very interesting. Well, if you decide to not become a zombie, some of the Canadian artists have told me that there was one in particular that told me that they've never seen zombie in snow. So they just need to stay in the highest part of the mountains that have snow. So then only during the summer season, we might have to worry, but otherwise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So
that's good to know.
Yeah. Interesting thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So in your opinion, what job would you be terrible at doing?
Oh, anything that requires me to use spreadsheets. Any spreadsheets, any data entry. I actually once Okay. So I didn't actually quit a job, but I talked my college roommate into covering for me at a job that was at my cousin's business in college. And it was data entry. And I just couldn't do it, but I couldn't let him down. So I was like, but if you'll do it, I'll just pay you. And we did it all summer. He never found out. He might know now if he's watching this. Sorry, Dave. I didn't do any of that. But yeah, I just hate it. I hate it. Sitting at a desk and like putting things in boxes just stresses me out. I can't do it.
Okay, well, if you need any data analytics, let me know. Okay, I do that daytime work, so just let me know. I can do it. Not that I love doing it all the time, but I got you covered there.
Cool.
So I know the Powerball is like almost $2 billion right now. Hypothetically, if you won the lottery, what's the first thing you would do?
I would fund my kids' college. I would put some in savings for sure. Those would be the first two things I would do. And probably just try to give some money away to some people who really need it. And then the rest of it goes to getting vinyl printed.
Nice. Love it.
Lots of it.
Oh, I said with the hurricane, so there's so many people south of me that, we were fortunate. I mean, even my neighbors, their house needs work and things like that, and roof, yada, yada. I said, we were very fortunate. We didn't have any major damage, which is great. Little things we fixed mostly, a couple things here and there, nothing major. But there's friends that have lost everything, and it's just a struggle. I said, you know what, the first thing, I think that's now one of the first things I would do is go help them and be like, look, I don't care, whatever insurance you get it. Here's the money, rebuild it, go. Not even.
Yeah. There's a lot of folks down there, Fort Myers, that are really, really struggling right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell me, what's the last thing you read?
The last thing I read would be Kate Baer's, is it That Kind of Woman? Is that what it's called? It's a poetry book. She does, I forget if it's called omission poetry or erasure poetry, but she'll take like different emails people send her and pull words out. And you've probably seen it. And she turns them into like, usually they're kind of negative comments toward her. And then she turns them into these beautiful, empowering poems. And my best friend gave me two of her books. And I was just reading that one, looking for some lyrical inspiration. I think it's That Kind of Woman. I hope I'm not saying it wrong.
It's okay. We'll look it up afterwards. It'll be fine. No worries. Oh. Do you prefer boots or heels?
Boots all day long. I probably have 20 pairs of boots.
And one favorite, right?
No? Probably 5 favorites. Actually, no, that's a lie. I wear my white ones. I probably wear my white ones more than anything. Yeah. But yes, boots forever.
Oh, so if we made a movie about your life, who would you want to play you?
That's a good question. I don't know. Who would I want to play me? I'm trying to think of actresses that I know who they are. Who do you think should play me?
Oh, I don't know. We could get anyone. So I mean, I'm a big fan of Reese Witherspoon. I think she just has a very unique
she's
about
great.
her. So I think she'd be able to play you.
She's really cool.
Yeah,
she's cool. I like her.
Yeah.
Okay, we can go with that.
Okay,
I approve that decision.
It's approved. Okay, I'll give her a call tomorrow, and we'll get the production going.
Great.
Right after we claim the lottery winning. So of course,
Perfect. Yes.
So this one might not be so difficult for you since you have children. Where's Waldo?
Oh gosh. Waldo, I hope, is on vacation. He's been working hard for a long time. Maybe like Tulum, Mexico.
No, nice. Beautiful.
I'd like to go to Tulum.
Yeah, let's plan that. Let's just plan that. I'm in. Count me in. Oh,
great.
So in your opinion, what's the best thing since sliced bread?
Oh man, I really like vegetables, and no one's gonna like that answer, but it's true. I love them. I love them in so many ways. I like pickled vegetables. I like curried vegetables. I guess I'm just a vegetable.
Just a vegetable. That's perfect.
I'm just a vegetable. I love vegetables.
Oh, I think we would have been best friends as kids. I wouldn't eat anything but vegetables.
Aw,
So
really? That's awesome.
yeah. Well, so do you prefer to cook or order in?
I love to cook. We order in sometimes, but yeah, my husband and I both love to cook. So it's in fact I can hear spoons in the kitchen happening. I think it's spaghetti night tonight. So
Oh, nice.
my daughter, my second oldest daughter, loves to make salads. So she goes in there and she chops up the romaine. She likes to make a Caesar salad, and then she has this other salad she calls the good salad. And that's for not pasta night. She will Caesar salad only on pasta night. That's the only way it works for her. There's 4 of them, but she has strong opinions, so we go with that.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, so in your opinion, what's the worst pizza topping?
Probably like the not good kind of mushrooms. You know the ones I'm talking about? What are they? The canned ones? Those are gross.
Yeah.
But I like mushrooms, just not those kinds.
No, I think they have to do fresh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like fresh. That's good.
Mm-hmm. So what do you wish would magically clean itself? The house, the car, probably the house.
Definitely the house. Definitely the house. Specifically the kitchen and my kids' rooms. Yeah, that's my vote.
Okay, we'll get that magic cleaning thing started.
Great.
Tell me something on your bucket list besides Tulum, Mexico.
Okay. Iceland. I've always wanted to go to Iceland and hike the glaciers and go in the Blue Lagoon. That's what I want.
Nice. Okay, take me with you when you go. That's all I ask.
Okay. Deal.
If you could be any person like Dolly Parton, or a position like a CEO or a surgeon, who or what position would you want to be for a day and why?
I don't know if I'd want to be anything else than I am. I'd love to do what I do on a larger scale, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, I think that's what my heart says. I think I want to just do this, but bigger and better and more, you know?
So maybe be about Dolly for a day and just get inside the mind and just.
Sure. She's got some great shoes and wigs too. So.
Right? I'm just saying.
She's hot. Dolly's hot. She's got it. Did you see that dress she wore for her like Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing?
Mm-hmm. That was awesome. Well, that was yeah.
She's a living legend for a reason.
If I needed to like dress for something, I'd be like, I just call her up, be like, I need you to pick out a dress for me. Just here I am. You just whatever you want me to wear. I think you'll yeah. Like, can you be my design consultant? Yeah. Like
for sure. She's got it.
Absolutely. So do you have any words of wisdom that you live by?
Well, I guess in a way, I mean, be kind, be yourself. Try not to listen to outside voices that conflict with what you know to be true. It's easy to get confused. There's a lot of voices shouting at us all the time. But I mean, I think kindness is always a good start. Yeah. Kindness and honesty. You can figure out how to do both of those things at once. I think that's the thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. So
thank you.
Obviously, we know you've been diving into this new album that you're creating. So besides that, what else is happening? I know we're getting close to the holidays and all that good stuff. So what else is happening the rest of this year? Any great plans? Anything?
Well, allegedly, I have a show on Wednesday in Sanford, but it's hurricane now. Did you see this?
I did see that. That might be a Cat 1. So I don't know.
So does that mean we still get to do things or not?
I think so. I think it's going to be this discretionary of the place. Is it inside show, outside show?
It's inside. It's in Sanford, so it's not that close to the coast, but I'm just like, I'm already seeing little flurries in my email. People are worried because last time was awful.
Mm-hmm.
So supposedly I have a show with two of my friends, two wonderful Florida artists, Joshua C. Riley, who's from St. Pete area, and then Patrick Hagerman, who's Orlando based. That's Wednesday night. And then other than that, really just honing in on the record. Gonna keep going on that. And Thanksgiving break, we're gonna go to the mountains in Georgia with the kids.
Nice.
That's always a good time. Yeah. It's always nice and cold. And we do like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree up there after Thanksgiving. They go cut something down and it's like a little sapling and they decorate it. It's really, really a sweet time. And other than that, it's just making art and taking care of babies, and they're not babies anymore. My youngest is 6, but keeping people alive. That's what we're doing. And
I think that's very important.
It is that's the thing. Honestly, I feel like if you are just keeping them alive, that's a good baseline. Yes. It's a good baseline when you have a bunch of them.
And keeping them good, being good people.
Yes.
That's,
Yes. So my oldest is in middle school, and so I have a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 6-year-old. Girl, boy. And so it's a very like kind of busy time with school. But they're just all a bunch of fun. They always have all kinds of different stuff going on with school this time of year. So it's Spirit Week for my oldest right now. So this morning she was dressed as a Renaissance queen because that was the time period that her class got. And they'll want to be baking. I think I promised my 8-year-old we were doing Rice Krispie treats tomorrow. So it's just like there's always a lot of different stuff going, and I love that. Like I love that my life has multiple facets. I think for me personally, when I was younger, I've been doing art for a long time. And when I was younger in music, I think I did a lot of sitting around and a lot of like overthinking that I just don't have time to do now, It was part of being in my 20s, and it was part of, being an indie rock girl. It was like sitting at the coffee shop, just thinking really hard and, being depressed about stuff. That was like part of the deal. But now I really have to like prioritize, okay, the kids are at school. I'm going to go hit the gym, and then I am hitting studio until I pick them up. And, and then we pick them up and then we live that life, and it's all interwoven. And I just love that. I feel like it's a huge gift to have a lot of different things going on, and I'll be doing session work, I'm sure, for different folks. I don't know who yet, but that just always tends to kind of float through. So that's it. That's our through Christmas, probably. Yeah.
Well, if you ever need a taste tester, I'm a very good taste tester. Although I'm planning on making Rice Krispies treats tonight just because I like to make them and that's one of my favorite snacks. So yeah, just call me up anytime for taste tester. All right.
Sounds good.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining me today, and you are welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast. I really appreciate you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And thank you, friends, for joining us for another episode. Have a great day. If you enjoyed today's episode of Crazy Women Country, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Be sure to click the subscribe button for new interviews weekly. And thank you, friends, for joining us today on Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter.